What up, everybody? I'm Dave Miranda, and this is another episode of Just Give Me 5. I hope you guys are doing great, continue to be amazing. We got another awesome show lined up for you today. But if you guys caught the last episode that we had, you saw we had none other than the one and only Jody Light. And let me tell you, like I said before, man, that one was a little extra special for me. You know what I'm saying? Because Jody's been in my life since I was a little kid, man. And, you know, her and my uncle, they deserve so much respect for everything they've done in the community and the scene throughout the years, especially what she's doing with Shine for the Future, you know, with the kids. I mean, that's incredible, you know, and it was just a real treat to have her on the show. Learned a lot more about her on this episode also. So, you know, it was beautiful, man. And, you know, just wish you nothing but more continued success, Jody. And thank you for being on the show. Make sure you guys catch that episode. All right. But today's guest has been a staple not only in the Arizona community, but all over the country as well. We're going to talk about her upbringing. We're also going to talk about her Teen Summit days on BET. We're going to talk about how she became an activist and so much more. So ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I present to you Queen Yonasda.
Peace, my name is Queen Yonasda, and all I'm saying is just give me 5. My name is Queen Yonasda. I'm Oglala Lakota, Native American, and Black. I'm a former MC of Phoenix. I've been around for a long time. I'm an activist, an entrepreneur, a mother, a sister, and so much to me. Man, it's so much to me. A community organizer, a national community organizer. And my hometown is Phoenix, Arizona, and I reside in Atlanta, Georgia now. You know, it's so crazy. So growing up in Phoenix, Arizona, there was nothing to do. Right. There was nothing to do. It was 1% Black people. You know, it was not that many Latinos that you see now. A lot of the Native Americans were still living on the reservations back in the 80s, you know. Yeah. So really it was nothing to do here. So we used to have to create our own fun. And so what that meant was creating dance crews. So we used to have these, they're like, if it was a dance crew or a rap crew. So either you're going to dance, ball, or rap, you know. Yeah. So what happened is that I started dancing when I was like 14. So I used to look up to Smooth But Funky. Smooth But Funky was a dance crew by Cedric Ceballos. Okay. So like he wanted to create a dance group from Desert West Park, you know, and it was like my cousins Achuda, Naima, Aaron. It was like the flyest girls, and they used to get sponsored by Cross Color. So they used to wear all these baggy Cross Color clothes, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it was like they were like the it group, and they used to open up for like CC Peniston at the time, and you know, like Power used to do powerhouses, like these powerhouse concerts. Sure. And so Smooth But Funky used to be the dance group that would open up, and I was like, man, I want to get to that level, you know. So I started a dance group with my friend Lisa, Angela, and Tammy, and we was called Layette. Then we ended up expanding to a group called Abstract. And we were like, because I was born in Washington, D.C., and I also used to live in Chicago, and basically everyone has a story of why they got to Arizona. So my mother was on a run from the feds. So that's what happened. That's how we ended up getting to Arizona. Wow. And so what happened is that because of that East Coast influence, I mean, this was a time of like Wu-Tang, you know, Nas, like, you know, and especially here in the Southwest, you know, was predominantly West Coast music, you know. Yeah. And so I started, all of my friends I was meeting that was moving out here were from the East Coast. Right. So we would dress in army fatigues. They used to call us like the female Wu-Tang. And so we used to perform, and I ended up getting Magic 107. Magic 107 was owned by Art Mobley. Art Jackson, and first Black radio station here in Phoenix, Arizona, and I got them to sponsor us. Magic 107. Yeah. Wow. So they ended up sponsoring us, and then the first big show that we had was opening up for Brandy. at the Arizona State Fair.
What year was this?
This was like 1993, 94-ish.
This was I Want to Be Down, Brandy.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. This was I Want to Be Down, Brandy.
Okay.
And so from that, we just started performing everywhere. And then when I graduated, I ended up dancing for Foot Clan. And like, so now if you dance for Foot Clan, you had to be like really into hip hop. You had to really like learn, like know how to B-boy, B-girl, you know, and because we used to go to Soul Train. Like Daryl from Foot Clan used to always have everyone go to Soul Train, you know? So we used to go to Soul Train and all of that stuff. Yeah. And so I had a love for dance. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and I used to watch Teen Summit, like, faithfully every Saturday on BET. Yeah. And I said, I'm going to dance on that show one day. And I used to say that all throughout high school. I was like, I'm going to dance on that. If I get to BET, like I already did Soul Train, but if I get to BET's Teen Summit, I'm going there. So when I graduated, I ended up moving to New York City, and Karis One hooked me up to work for Island Black Music. And I was working like behind the scenes for Island Black Music, like doing the promo marketing. This was like the tunnel of New York and all that other stuff. Yeah. And then from there, I ended up going to Washington, D.C. And I was working at a talent agency as a talent agent at 18, you know, but as a talent agent. And this woman I spoke to, she was like, hey, I work for BET's Teen Summit. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, I want to be on that show. She was like, this weekend is an audition for dancers. And I was like, oh wow. So I ended up auditioning. I made it, and guess how much I would get paid? I'm thinking like I was gonna be a millionaire.
Right.
I got paid $25 a taping. That was $25 a week.
Wow.
Horrible.
And you're like on the show.
I'm on the show.
Wow.
I'm on the show. It was like, so from my first show, so when I went there, I said, because I, like, mind you, I used to watch Teen Summit faithfully.
Oh, yeah.
And so I was like seeing like certain things that needed to be changed. So I go in and I was like, we should have a dance, like us doing choreography. And then we should like be on podiums. And so I changed like the whole way they saw dancing there. And I ended up doing choreography. We ended up being on podiums instead of on the ground, you know, on the stage with the artists when they performed. I mean, I've danced for DMX, you know, you see me on the footage behind DMX, behind Faith Evans, like name an artist, I was behind all of that, you know? And so from BET Teen Summit, I ended up being on BET's Planet Groove. And then I was on BET Soundstage. Rachel was the host. I was on Planet Groove. Then MTV called me and was all like, we want you on Dance Planet. They had this show when you dance in Times Square. And you remember that? Like, it was like a dance, it was like Planet, it was like Dance Planet or something like that. Yeah. And then, so they have us dancing in the Times Square, you know, and so I just was like, and then I ended up doing Foxy Brown's music video with Drew Hill, Big Bad Mama. Yeah. And so from all of that, like, I just was like, but it was so fast for me because I'm originally from Phoenix. So I ended up getting mugged and by a guy that looked like Denzel Washington.
Really?
Yes. He was like good looking and he ended up attacking me and grabbing my stuff. And it was so traumatic. And I was like, now mind you, I'm like about this time, like 21-ish, you know.
Is this in DC?
This is in DC.
Oh, wow.
So, you know, when DC was like, when DC was, you know, like horrible, you know. And so I ended up coming back to Phoenix. And when I came back to Phoenix, I ended up, from there, I was like doing choreography for the Boys and Girls Club and, you know, just mentoring. And that's where I met Buki, you know, at the beginning of when he first started rapping at the Boys and Girls Club on the East Side. And I had I used to create just nothing but dance crews for a lot of young boys and girls here, and as well as homeless children. And I would, you know, I would get the Boys and Girls Club to be able to sponsor their clothes. And then from there, we ended up, I had them dancing all around Phoenix, Arizona. Then a friend of mine by the name of Ked, he was Side Street Ked. He moved out here. He was from the Dungeon family. And this was around the time when Wisdom used to do the poetry stuff. And HB, you know, and HB and stuff, we used to do the poetry stuff, of both of them. And I was like, Malik Youssef is a good friend of mine. Yeah, you know, so Malik Youssef is a very well-known poet. He started off as a poet. He did Love Jones. He's from Chicago. Yep. But my mother used to mentor him, and Fatima Halim used to mentor him. And now he's like a multi-Grammy award-winning producer, songwriter, Beyonce, Jay-Z, you know, like name it, he's done it all. But this was so at the age of like 14, well, no, like around 16, he said, like, tell me, you know, he's like, you should start doing poetry. So on the side of me dancing, I used to write poetry. Sing Q, aka Mike Rashid, Sing Q, aka Mike Rashid, used to be like write me, you know, like work with me on how to write rhymes. And so we used to, I used to have this one rhyme. I don't remember it. Don't ask me to do it, you know, but we used to be at Metro Center. And I used to be that me and Joy, Phrase's sister, Joy, we used to be like the token females. They used to come in and do our rap, you know, in the cypher, you know, and then at Metro Center Mall or Mill Avenue or whatever. And at that time, so when I moved back from New York and DC, and Side Street Ked from the Dungeon family was like, he was like, yo, you should turn your rhymes into raps. Like, you should start rapping. And I was like, all right. So what I did was I did a rap, and it was called The Love Song. And I ended up going on the radio out here. And it ended up like blowing up. Like it ended up doing like very, very well.
What year was this?
This was like 2000. Like 2000. And it ended up just blowing up. And I ended up doing the car show, Funk Master Flex's car show at the Celebrity Theater. So my brother worked for a car dealership, he still does, and we rolled up in all the new Cadillac. He worked for Cadillac. We rolled up in all the new Cadillacs. And from my marketing days of working with Island Black Music, my dancing days, I had dancers and like beautiful models that all had on First Lady of AZ, you know, t-shirts and giving out all my stuff. And 50 came out and was like, yo, who is this First Lady of AZ? Like, they're coming through like they are part of the show, you know? And that's exactly because I learned my marketing stuff from living in New York, you know? So from there, I ended up like just rapping, and I ended up doing like a whole Southwest tour and go off of one song. I have no other songs. That was it. And like so, singles tour. Yeah, it was like a single tour. And then everyone was like, we need more music. So I ended up going back in the studio. Pharrell reached out, wanted to sign me to his, you know, to his label. He was looking at female artists. My mother ended up passing away. And my mother passed away December 21st, 2003 of lung cancer. And that put me like in a major depression. And from there, I ended up, I was like, you know what, I'm leaving Phoenix. So I go to Baltimore. And when I went to Baltimore, I meet Capadonna from the Wu-Tang Clan. You know, and me and Cap, when he met me, he was like, I want you on five of my songs. And I'm like, oh, snap. Like, this is Wu-Tang. Like, this is, you know, and I'm like, oh, so he really helped me gain my penmanship, you know, my delivery, you know, he really helped me. Because if you ever seen Cap perform, like, he is really an MC, you know, like, he's really, really good. And so we ended up like doing the entire tour together. I ended up performing for all of, like, he would have me come out and do my rap while he would do shows with Wu-Tang and everything like that. And I ended up putting out an album, and I ended up moving back here. I moved back to Phoenix, and I dropped God Loving Music. And on God Loving Music has Keith Murray on there. Of course, Capadonna, my grandfather, the Honorable Miss Louis Farrakhan, Dr. Ben Chavis. I also got, like, you know, a couple of I mean, I had so many people on that album, and it's like a dope album. From that, I ended up, I was like, so when Wu-Tang would come into Phoenix, and then like other artists would come into Phoenix, they would hit me up and like, hey, you want to open up? And I'm like, yeah. So, and they're like, all right. So I would open up and people would love it. Like Red and Meth, and so Red and Meth was like, I want you on the whole West Coast tour. Yeah. So they're like, I want you on the whole West Coast tour. And I was like, all right, cool. I learned so much from Redman and Method Man that, like, because if you ever go to a Red and Meth show, it's off the chain. Yeah. Even today, like their energy.
Both in, like, incredible shape now too.
Yeah. Like I learned so much. So Redman was like watching my show and was showing me how to keep the audience engaged. And if you ever perform in front of a Wu-Tang audience, it's one of the hardest audience to perform in front of. Absolutely. Like I literally saw them one time throw something at Ghostface because one of the songs that he was performing, the crowd didn't like it, And so, so they're hard, So I had to really, in every single show, and being a female on top of it, I really had to like come through, and Redman taught me that, Cap would, teach me certain things, Meth as well, and was like trying to just make sure that I'm on point, From that, Ghostface was doing his Wizard of Poetry, tour. And he was like, all right, Queen, I want you on my tour. I was like, all right, cool. The energy was so, because Ghost has like they Staten Island. They're like, saying like, and I lived in Staten Island too. But the thing is that like, he hangs out with them goons, what I'm saying? So I was like, do I want to be around these goons for this tour? Right. Raekwon ended up hitting me up and was like, I'm releasing Built for Cuban Links 2 tour, 2. Yep. He's like, I want you on the entire tour of 32 cities. Yep. I was like, all right. So I brought Empress, a female MC. From here. I wanted to be able to, I was like, Empress.
And John Blaze, right?
DJ John Blaze. John Blaze was, he was doing stuff with Super, Super Music. Yeah. And so I was all like, Blaze, I'm putting you on tour. Yeah. Empress, I'm putting you on tour. Like, I want to be able to, like, I was like, we're going to do a song together, but, be my hype girl. But this would be an opportunity for you to network. Yeah. Blaze, this would be an opportunity for you to get out of Phoenix and see what's out there and then meet new artists, you know what I'm saying? So we ended up doing that tour. It was so much fun. The energy was great, and I ended up dropping God Love and Music. Me and Blaze I wanted to do a party tape. Like, remember back in the day when you used to put a like DJ Clue in or Flex in, and then you don't even have to, because like, remember at that time, the mixtapes was like, they weren't like mixing. There was no DJing like at that time. You know what I'm saying? Like in regards to like the 2009 or whatever, So we ended up doing that tour. Then from that, while I was on that tour, I ended up going out to schools and just, talking to schools in the daytime and then doing radio interviews. But I wanted to connect with the people. I was like, this is an opportunity for me to connect with, like, go and take me to the barrio, take me to the hood, take me to the res. I want to connect with the people and find out what's going on in their community and all that other stuff. And that's what I did. And so after that tour, there was a huge earthquake that happened in Haiti. And I ended up doing Hip Hop for Haiti. And I used social media to mobilize 32 cities to do a fundraising event all in one day. So I know that's a lot.
Performed at the one you did here.
Yeah. And that was like, it was like 32 cities. So it was like, Willie U, it was a lot of people, But in New York, they had the Locks, African Bambaataa. Like, it was like, it was at that time of 2010, it was so unheard of to live stream concerts on the internet, so when I was like, we're going to use Ustream, and they were like, I don't understand what you're doing. Wyclef called me and he was all like, why don't you just put the concert and bring it to New York to Madison Square? And I was like, no, I want this to be grassroots.
Right.
32 cities are going to do a concert all on one day.
Yeah.
Hip hop for Haiti.
Yeah.
And I said, and everyone's going to go on their computer and watch it. He was like, I don't get it. I don't understand.
Right.
Like no one was understanding what this was at that time. And we see today, everyone's live streaming.
It's the norm.
Yeah. And so when I did that at the time, people thought I was crazy.
It was foreign to them.
It was like, what? I don't get it. And I said, it's possible. We can do it, you know?
Yeah.
And we did. Yeah. So, yeah. You know, what inspired me to become an activist is that I was literally born into the movement. I was born during the longest walk, which was a protest from Alcatraz, San Francisco to Washington, D.C. that the American Indian movement did. Okay. And my mother was the PR director behind the American Indian movement. And she also used to work for Muhammad Ali. She was the woman behind the Thriller in Manila, okay. The Rumble in the Jungle. Yeah. You know, I kind of grew up around entertainment and sports, but also activism. It was normal for me to be in a room with Jesse Jackson, Reverend Al Sharpton, right. You know, Cesar Chavez, yeah. Dolores Huerta, you know, and Chief Ernie Long Walker and Minister Farrakhan talking about how they want to be able to create change. So it was like normal for me to be able to be in a room with all these great revolutionaries and freedom fighters in regards to change. Sure. And so being around that was like my constant life. Yeah. Was to be just hearing about like what's happening in the world, right. You know, and which also here growing up in Phoenix, Arizona, it was normal for me to see people from all walks of life coming together to make change too. For sure. One of them was the fact that we were the last state to get the Dr. Martin Luther King holiday. Yeah. And my mother was very instrumental with making that happen, as well as her crew of revolutionaries. Right. And, you know, there's so many great people that was behind that. But my mother, because of the fact that she used to work for Muhammad Ali in the sports world, she had relationships with football players. Okay. So she came up with the idea of, why don't you all boycott in order for boycott the Super Bowl until we get a Dr. King holiday. For Arizona, yeah. You know? So by her making that happen, you know, it was, and everyone came together. So I remember she used to just pull me and my friends to be like the youth spokespeople, you know? And so we was constantly like at the city halls, right. You know, meeting with the governor, the mayor, different politicians as the youth perspective, myself, Andre Washington, you know, South Phoenix Youth Center. And I really miss the South Phoenix Youth Center, but South Phoenix Youth Center was a hub of young people. Of us to be able to, we had like so many after school activities, but there was also a hub for us to come together to create change. Like, how did we see, like literally the mayor and the politicians used to come to us and say, how do you all see Phoenix in regards to like 5 years from now, 10 years from now, you know? So my mother will put on the Children of Color Parade. Like she's actually put in like, and gave an avenue for artists and young people to express themselves, whether it was rapping, singing, dancing, like whatever it was, she always created something for young people to create, to do, you know, express themselves. Which also, when we got the holiday, when you, at the time it was America West Arena, yeah. But when Stevie Wonder came and Rosa Parks performed, when we got the holiday, it was nothing but youth, nothing but, and then it was like, you know, the Latino community, the white community, the Asian, you know, Native American, Black, like all of us will all come together to be able to have this holiday. And so, and then as well as everything else, because we felt like in order for us to be able to, you know, to make a change on anything, whether it was housing or whatever it was, we had to come together because it was only 1% Black people. So if it was a Black issue, everyone would come, you know, and be a part of it, you know, and if it was a Latino issue, everyone would come to be a part of it. We all would just unite together. So it was just always in me. I would say that for me, the time that it really was like, I need to make a difference it was me, Taji, Khalid, like it was like all of my friends. We went to Castles and Coasters.
Okay.
It was Taji's birthday,
Okay.
and it was my brother Julio's birthday. And we're hanging out. You know, it's our birthday. We had Castles and Coasters. My mom just threw them a birthday party and everything. Right. And the police at that time, well, they still are. They're still like, you know, power hungry and everything like that. But they ended up taking our friend Fadri and choking him. And having him up against the wall, and his feet was high. He was very tall, and they had him up against, and they was choking him, and we were yelling at the police, "Stop! You're gonna kill him! You're gonna kill him! Stop! Stop!" They sprayed us with mace. They ended up arresting Fadri for trespassing. Like, we was there for a birthday party. And my mother came with her 2 wolves. You know, her last name was Lone Wolf. Mine is Lone Wolf, you know. Right. We had wolves as pets, you know. Yeah. So she came with the wolves, and she was like, "Which one of y'all touched my babies?" They were like, "Which one's your baby?" She was like, "All of them," you know. Right. And she immediately got on the phone with the chief of police and was like, "This is the badge numbers of who, you know, what they just did." It was the first time that I was able to see, and by the mentoring of my mother and her friends with all of us, that we can actually get some officers fired. And we got 5 officers fired. And I was like, wow, if we stand up and we are able, and she showed me the steps to be able to make things like that happen. You know, that was my first like big activist moment. From there, with hip hop, I always saw that hip hop can be used for change. We saw that with Public Enemy. You know what I'm saying? We saw that with, like, you know, so Poor Righteous Teachers. We saw that with KRS, you know, and we see it with Kendrick Lamar. We see it with so many, you know, hip hop, it can be used as a tool to be able to create change and to make a difference and to be the voice of the voiceless, you know? And so by me using hip hop, and then also incorporating activism, that's exactly what I end up doing. So when I got off the tour with Raekwon, you know, we ended up dealing with the Hip Hop for Haiti with the hurricane. Then here in Phoenix, Arizona, was the SB 1070 bill that the governor, Jan Brewer, signed into law, which was like, if you look like, which is ridiculous, if you look like a foreigner, they will send you back to where they think you're from. And there was so many things within that bill that was so horrible in regards to people of color and marginalized communities, especially here in Arizona when it's a predominantly Mexican community, a Latino community, you know? So I called Chuck D up first. And I was like, "Chuck, I want to redo by the time I get to Arizona. Can I have your permission?" He was like, "Most definitely you can." Right. I called John Blaze up. I said, "Blaze, we're redoing by the time I get to Arizona." Yeah. And he was all like, "Oh, yeah, let's do it." And I said, and he was like, "Well," and I said, "and we only have 10 days to record everyone and do a music video." He was all like, "Why in 10 days? No, I said 7 days. I said 7 days to make this happen." He's like, "Why?" I said, "Because it's hot in the news. Yeah. So you got to jump on it when it's hot in the news right now, you know?" Right. So it was crazy. Talib hit me up and was like, "I want to be on the song." And I was like, "I love you, Talib."
This is the Arizona thing.
This is Arizona. Yeah, I said, "We all live here. Yeah. We know what's happening." Right. And I said, "And we're going to have the top artists out of Phoenix, you know, to all be on this song." And that understands what Black and Brown unity is about, what also understands of what's happening in regards to the police that are always on us, you know, and then we're here. Immortal Technique. I love you, Immortal, but I even had to tell Immortal, "I love you, but you can't be on the song." Yeah. They ended up doing their own songs. Right. Oh, yeah. You know, they ended up doing their own songs.
So this was like all over the country.
It was all over the country.
Arizona, but it was all over the country.
It was. Yeah. And you was on there, yeah. Mr. Miranda, yeah. You know, yep. You was on there. We had Atlas on there. Yep. We have Darren Anthony on there. Taji was on there. Yep. Chino was on there. Who?
Penny.
Penny was on there. Yep. Ocean at the time. Man, who else we had on there? That's like, we had so many artists on there, and we made it happen, and that joint went viral.
Yeah.
And I called Chuck Creekmore with All Hip Hop. Now, mind you, my hip hop media was already on point because I just got off the tour with Raekwon. Right. So I was like, I called All Hip Hop. I called at the time, what was that? Everybody was trying to get on. That had all music videos, and it.
Dope Boys.
Yeah, Two Dope Boys was on there.
Right,
yeah, and but the other one that was big, like I forgot what it was. They started to show music. It was before Shade Room.
Okay.
But I can't think of it right now. Yeah. But we had and this was the first time that on a national, international level that they're seeing Arizona has a hip hop scene. Like, you know, of today. Yeah. And they was playing on the radio, everything. Harvey R. Soto, you know what I'm saying, ended up covering it. We ended up doing a march, you know. Yeah. We was everywhere. And it's crazy because even today, I still get emails from professors that say that they are looking at the lyrics and talking about immigration laws and things like that from the things that we said in that video, in that song, you know. And that's what activism is, how to activate people, you know. And from there, I just ended up, I put the mic down. I think my final straw of putting the mic down was when Mike Brown got murdered. Yeah. When Mike Brown got murdered, I said, I don't have it in, I'm not inspired. I'm inspired to organize. I'm inspired to be able to, you know, unite people together. If I know how to do this in hip hop, I'm going to use that same technique and do it in the community and activism. I was in Ferguson. I was in Baltimore when Freddie Gray was murdered, and I organized around that. And everything I organized, I always brought hip hop in, you know, so I have a concert, a panel, a march, whatever. I always was bringing that in, which led me to be on BET's Cop Watch America, which is a series that came out 2019, 2020. Yeah. You know, and and talking about stopping police brutality. And I didn't know that it would hit me so close that 3 of my cousins were murdered by police. And then here in Arizona, Romaine Brisbane was murdered by police. And when I got that call from his family, it was like, I need you to come back home to Phoenix and to organize for Romaine. We shut down Phoenix. Like I was like, we're going to shut this place down. We shut it down. And then for everyone that's wanting to know, like, does protesting work? We shut down Phoenix for 10 hours, downtown Phoenix, on a Saturday. Anyone knows that on Saturdays, downtown Phoenix is not a lot of people. Right. A lot of people don't be out in the daytime on a Saturday. Yeah. It's mostly during the week. The Phoenix New Times wrote an article and said that they lost $5.2 million by us shutting it down that long. So from that, we ended up getting a call from the governor, from the mayor, from the chief of police saying, what do you guys need? We said, we need Officer Mark Wine to be fired. And they fired him. That family now has received a settlement. That's not true justice. True justice is that Officer Mark Wine shouldn't have killed Romaine Brisbane, you know? You know, a life is gone. These children don't even have a father, you know? But, you know, at least that officer can never, ever work again, because he shouldn't have used his authority and his badge as a way to be able to kill an innocent person. You know, Romaine was innocent. So many of this stuff has been going around, and I've been in every single city all across this nation. And I use the foundation of Phoenix, Arizona activism of grooming me to be able to do that nationally. Yeah. In regards to, like, I'm in Atlanta, Georgia now. So I'm out meeting with the South American community, meeting with, you know, the indigenous community, the Native American community. I'm always bringing in various communities, everything, even though Atlanta, Georgia is predominantly Black. I'm like, we still need to be able to unite. And from that, recently, I was able to get the city of Gwinnett County, or certain counties in Georgia, to change their Christopher Columbus Day to Indigenous Peoples Day. And the city of South Fulton just granted me November 21st, Queen Yonasda Appreciation Day.
Nice.
So I was like, oh my God, like that was
nice.
like, yeah.
Okay.
So from the work that I've been doing in regards to helping our people. So Phoenix, y'all need to give me my day too. But so those type of things of making a difference has been, I love it. I absolutely love to be able to bring people together. And now I'm battling lung cancer, because I was in Standing Rock and they were spraying us with so many different chemicals. There's been over 100 people that has been diagnosed with cancer since being in Standing Rock. Standing Rock was a protest on my sister tribe in North Dakota, against the Dakota Access Pipeline. Right. So we literally was out there in prayer, fighting against the U.S. government on building an oil pipeline. And there's been 100 people diagnosed with cancer, and unfortunately, I'm one of them. I have lung cancer. I have over 200 cancer tumor cells in both of my lungs. My oxygen is at 100. I feel great. I take a chemo pill every single day, but it put me in a position where I believe that God has given me grace, that I'm able to, and when I found out was May 2020, and May 2020 was the time George Floyd, we just saw that. So this is the height of every activist, and then it was crazy because it's kind of like when a rapper is at their height and they're like, yeah, I'm going to the Grammys, like for an activist, that was the height for every activist. Like, yeah, I'm gonna be up on every CNN and all that. And it was like God's way of saying, no, you're sitting down. And I was like, oh my God, but this is time I'm supposed to be out. And so I ended up, the same day that I found out I have lung cancer was the same day that I organized one of the biggest protests in Atlanta, Georgia in 24 hours. And it was I don't know if you remember, it was the CNN building. In Atlanta when it turned into a riot. Yeah. Well, that was the march and the protest that I organized. I didn't organize it for this, but at the same, I didn't organize it for everyone to protest and riot. Right. But Dr. King said that rioting is the voice of the unheard. And the people of Georgia in Atlanta was unheard. We were dealing with the pandemic. And I think that that's what we saw all over here in Phoenix, Arizona. Yeah, Minneapolis, people was like, okay, COVID, and then this, and you guys are still killing us. You guys are still killing Black people, Black and brown people in the midst of quarantining and COVID. People was irate. They were done. Yeah. And so that was the same day I found out I got lung cancer. It was the day of this big, it turned into an uprising. T.I. called me and was like, Queen, I need you to come with me and meet with the mayor, Keisha Bottoms at the time. Yeah. So I met with her. We created like all of our demands. She met all of our demands that we had for years, and from that, I was like, my body was like, no, you need to sit down. I realized that as an activist and as it's not a self-proclaimed leader, but a people that look at me as a leader, is that in order for you to be a leader, you have to teach others how to lead as well. Exactly. You can, and I learned from looking at the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, looking at Reverend Al Sharpton, looking at Jesse Jackson, looking at even our folks here, that have done, my mother, Fatima Halim, people that have done amazing things here. I looked at the way that they used to have young people with them and teaching us on how to be able to do certain things. This generation also needs that as well. So I began to just organize from my bed, and I was mentoring all of the young people to be able to organize. I had organized from my bed. It was the rapper, God, what is his name? He did this song, and it was on the Grammys with Tamika Mallory and my son. He did a music video. It's at the tip of my tongue. It's one of those little something, little something. But I don't know. I can't remember his name. But he had one of the biggest songs of that summer, and he shot the music video at our march. and I'm at home, and like, okay, you guys make sure, and I'm organizing from home. And I realized that that's exactly what it boils down to, is being able to mentor young people and to help people to be able to make change. And I love it. It brings so much joy to my heart to see people, to have the BLM Phoenix chapter here give me a call and saying, Queen, we want to do this. What do you think? How do we, and that's where my activism has led me to, is to basically be a person that could just be there in the support for everyone. So I always say there's different positions in activism and revolution. You don't always have to be on the front line with your fist up. You could do that by behind the camera, You could do that by being a teacher. It's just about activating minds, activating people for change, and to make the world a better place. So that is a true activism. What's next? So, man, it's so much right now. I am really into like TV film right now. Yeah. I'm pitching stories to major media platforms in regards to like indigenous stories, like my mother's story, my mother Juanetta Lone Wolf story. Her story needs to be in a film, and so I'm working on that. I'm wanting to be able to tell more stories for that, and then also too on the third Sunday of every month in Atlanta, Georgia, I have an event called Revolutionary Healing. Mr. Miranda, you got to come. Anytime you want to come, and you got to come and perform or whatever. But what it is that revolutionary healing. So being diagnosed with lung cancer, I looked at it like, you know what? I still want to make a change. I want to do something. And the Honorable Minister Farrakhan said that, hold on, it would come to me. The basis of community development is self-improvement. The basis of community development is self-improvement. We cannot change the world, like Biggie said, unless we change ourselves. Right. And so I realized that we're constantly pointing the finger, like, you need to do this, you need to do that, instead of looking at within. And with this healing cancer journey that I'm in, has had me look at like my things that I need to work on and my healing. And so I have different people come to, whether it's yoga, whether it's how to start a business, like different things on self-improvement, right. Whether it's actors that's talking about their story, or rappers that are coming to perform or talking about about themselves, whether it's yoga, boxing, fitness. And I always find a new place, a new location in Georgia, right. And we all just be outside. And we do healing, and it's so dope. And we've had like some major folks that have came through and performed and everything. And now it's become a staple, on the third Sunday of every month in Georgia. So I'm loving it. As much as I love Phoenix, y'all, yeah. I'm loving Georgia, yeah. But I still love to come back here, and everything. And I'm hoping to at least get a sign, like a street sign of Juanetta Lone Wolf, of my mother, because she really has done so much in regards to like why we're able to do so much today, here in Phoenix, Arizona. I have been collaborating with Black and Brown and Native American owned businesses and to be able to help their business in regards to like bringing a different demographic of people to it. I have a clothing line with Kayla Looking Horse called Looking Horse X Lone Wolf, or LXL. That is like, we always go into stores and we see Native American inspired stuff, yeah. But we don't see Native American owned and Native American design. And I really felt like, no, people need to see Native American design and owned clothing that everyone can wear, especially within the Native American community. We always talk about appropriation and things like that. We're now making designs and clothes that you like you're appreciating, not appropriating, I have a CBD line called Wanacha, which means flower in Lakota, and it's gummies. And it's been it's by a black couple that actually own a farm, and they actually make these products. And out of all of because everyone was sending me every CBD, CBN, Rick Simpson oil, and this was the only product that actually worked and didn't make me high.
Good, yeah.
I don't like to feel high,
Right.
But I like to be able, because I don't want to numb the pain, I want it to actually work. And so it's called Wanacha. And so I love this collaboration. And I also did a collaboration with a friend of mine. She does body care products. And it's all, she makes everything, and it's so great. So we have her, name of her company is called So Refresh.
Okay.
And so, so basically, I'm just doing all of these great collaborations right now, and TV and film, and and most importantly, raising my 11-year-old son, Shamar, who me and Capadonna share a child with,
Okay.
and it's a beautiful thing, and I just I just love it. So that's what's in store for me. So everyone, make sure you all go to queenyonasda.com to be able to check out all of the products, all the collaborations, and everything that I'm doing. And I'm in a place where I'm just kind of like going where the universe is leading me to. We could plan, but God plans. And that's really my entire testimony of what I shared, is that I had a plan. I wanted to be the next Russell Simmons when I was little, or the next Michael Jackson when I was little.
Right.
But God has has another plan, and a better plan that has led me to even be on Give Me Five with Dave Miranda. Oh my God. I don't like to, I love to give love. But I do have, it's those things where, people that I've never met, that would reach out to me and saying that, and I'm trying not to cry, but that would hit me up, and they would say like, you inspire me, and you have like, and this is why I'm doing X, Y, Z. I was at the airport, and this guy came up to me, and I was talking, and he said, because of you, and when I saw you on the Breakfast Club, talking about agriculture and having our own land, he said, you inspired me, where I now own an entire marijuana farm.
Wow.
And he said an entire business.
Wow.
And so it's those moments that is like, wow. I never know who's watching or who's listening or who is engaged, and especially with the time of social media, I just don't know. I just be me, but the blessing is that, we just had a fashion show in Vegas for a Grammy after party. Okay. And I did a model call for anyone that follows, and this one girl, she works for Facebook. And she hit, she was like, hey, I want a model. And I was like, all right, cool. I don't know her. She lives in Texas. She flew from Texas to Vegas, and she said, I've been wanting to meet you. And she said, you have inspired me. Like, so for her to fly all the way from Texas to Vegas to model, but most importantly, to be around me, like someone that she's been following for a minute, it was just so, like, that's humbling, and it's those moments, and I think, and then also too, I love myself. And so because, and it took a long way for me to get to that point of loving myself, especially when I've dealt with so many insecurities. But being in a place at 44 years old right now, and being secure of who I am, and even all of the things that I've went through, and all of that I'm still here, and I may be unpolished, but I love this unpolished version of me. And for those that follow me and tell me that they love me too is a beautiful thing as well. So I love it. I do. And most importantly, my sons and my loved ones and my family, you know, that's constantly expressing that as well. But it's the beautiful thing of God's love and grace. You know, that's really what it all boils down to, is God's love and grace. And that's the best right there. So I want to shout out to all of the people in Phoenix, Arizona that basically have paved the way to where everyone is at now. From entertainment to activism to hip hop to creating businesses. All of the people in Phoenix that was there from the 70s, 80s, 90s to even now that, you know, I just want to shout all of y'all out. It's too many to name, but to see you guys just doing these things today, you know, from Poker Face, you know, Alafia, but, you know, having the Beat Knocker show when I used to see him on Mill Avenue rapping, you know, it's so many from iRock. I mean, it's so many, Buki, it's so many people that has done, so Tyree Michael Carter, Cedric Sabalos, like it's so many people that have paved the way here. And for all of you new folks that just moved to Phoenix, make sure y'all watch Give Me 5 so you all can learn and understand all of the pioneers of the Phoenix culture, because it's not a new city. It's been around for a long, long time, and it's because of Phoenix that has created me. So I am honored and blessed for the people from Phoenix that be able to raise me. So thank you so much.
And there you have it. Man, nothing but love and respect to Queen Yonasda. You know, thank you so much for doing this. You know, I know she's out in Atlanta now, so you know, I was like, man, you touching in Arizona, perfect timing. Let's make this happen. You know, known her for a long time, and she's just always been just a beautiful human being. You know, and just so fearless, so fearless. And you know, this was really an honor to have her on the show. You know, so I wish you nothing but continued success and blessings to you, my friend, and just nothing but continued good health your way. All right. Make sure you guys are following her on social media. And shout out to my brother Jimmy Nelson on the camera. Make sure you guys subscribe to the YouTube channel. And don't forget to click that bell so you get notified of all of our new episodes. All right. Well, this was definitely one for the books. I hope you guys enjoyed this as much as I did. And till next time, stay tuned, stay blessed, stay healthy, and just give me 5, y'all.
Everything